So when you became a vascular surgeon, you not only smashed a glass ceiling for Pacific people, but for women. And as your friend, I'm incredibly proud of that. Why do you think vascular surgery in particular has been dominated by men for so long?
That's a really good question. I think surgery has been dominated by men for a long, long time. If you look at surgeons in Australasia, women make up 13%, and that's slowly been growing. But if you look at the population, that's nothing. And I think there have been lots of barriers that the system that has trained surgeons has actually put in the way, various obstacles. And I think, women have generally had to work a lot harder to get to the top, or, to train as surgeons. And for a lot of women, it's been too hard or not worth the sacrifice of family time and the rest of it. I think for vascular surgery, there's a perception that, what I do is really challenging because the patients are often patients with lots of chronic medical conditions who are high risk, and that has its own kind of, challenges in terms of decision making and that sort of thing, which doesn't appeal to a lot of people, I think. And there's a perception also that not only do we deal with really high-risk patients, the outcomes aren't that good from the type of surgery we do, and also the lifestyle is also, not conducive to having a family in the same way that some other surgical specialties might be, because we get called in for lots of emergencies, trauma, that kind of thing. So that's probably been some of the reasons, but our College of Surgeons, the Royal Australasian College of Surgeons, have thankfully making a lot of headway in terms of changing that. There are lots of strategies that the college have put in place to try and remove some of these barriers. Flexible training, there's been a real change in the culture of surgery as far as breaking down discrimination, breaking down, sexual harassment in the workplace, which has been, a significant barrier to women in surgery. There's a real push towards what the college has termed operating with respect, and that's across the board. So, these are strategies which thankfully the system is trying to put into place, or has put into place, to try and really embrace the idea of being inclusive of women, of minorities in surgery. It's actually a really great time to be in this field. Yeah, so we're making strides, but there's still quite a lot of work to be done.
Mm. And also representation matters. So, having someone like you at the top of the field also, makes a really big difference. I mean, you're the first, but you won't be the last.
Yeah, and I think, that I was listening to a podcast recently where someone was referring to the fact that first is really just another way of saying only, and I think all of these things, in terms of embracing, minorities and other genders in the workplace to try and, reflect the population that we serve are positive moves. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, you touched on a number of things that I really want to explore further after the break. So diversity and inclusion, and also family. Let's take a break first.